Hi, good morning. Thanks for joining us. My name's Joanna Nelson, and I'm with the New Mexico Economic Development Department. And you have tuned in today to our monthly webinar series. Today we're focusing on the New Mexico Economic Development Department. So we're going to be giving an overview of all of our assistance programs and giving you a little bit of an insight into what's new this year. And then we have our economist here, Ryan Eustace, and he's going to be giving an update on the recent legislative session. So thanks for joining us and sharing your time. We got a lot of really good feedback from everybody that registered. We read your questions, or we read what you hope to learn from the webinar, and a lot of general questions about how you can utilize the department's programs in your communities. So our hope is that you find this webinar valuable and you're able to take these tools and programs and connections and resources that we offer back to your communities to help you become successful and your community become successful. So before we get started, I did want to share that we are recording this session. We record all of our monthly webinars and we post those on YouTube. So you're able to access this anytime you want on our YouTube channel. All you have to do is go to YouTube and search New Mexico Economic Development Department. And we have a lot of great webinars that we've done in the past. Mostly we cover resource programs, financial programs, hopefully resources that are helpful to you in your line of work. We will send the presentation out as well. That question always comes up, so no need to be concerned if you have to jump off. We will send out the recording link, and we'll send out the presentation after the webinar. So here's an overview of what we're going to cover. We've got about an hour-ish. We have a lot to cover, as you see. So we're going to just give a really brief overview, enough to kind of pique your interest and know where to go and who to contact. That's our main goal. You will be able to ask questions along the way. There's a questions box in the right-hand corner of your screen. So please, this is your opportunity to talk directly to the program managers and the experts. We've got a great team here today. And we'll answer the questions at the end. So without further delay, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah Gutierrez, and she's the Division Director.
Thanks, Joanna. And thanks, everyone, for joining us. We're excited to be able to do this, and we'll look forward to continuing doing these webinars. My name is Sarah Gutierrez. I'm the Deputy Division Director of the Economic Development Division of the Economic Development Department. And on your screen, you can see just a very simple little org chart of the Economic Development Department. We are comprised of 4 divisions. Up until just recently, it's been 3 divisions. So probably the newest and most exciting aspect of this meeting today is that you'll get to hear about our new Outdoor Recreation Division and how that is being developed and programs coming out of that. So we'll be focusing on ED division programs and, like I said, outdoor recreation. The ED division programs are under the direction of Mark Roper, who's our division director, and myself serving under Mark. And then we have most of the programs fall under that division. As I said, outdoor rec is its own division, and you'll be hearing about those programs later on in this webinar. We'll be going through the Job Training Incentive Program, the Office of International Trade, Office of Science and Technology, Finance Development, Main Street, and our Community and Business Rural Development Team, which are affectionately referred to as our regional reps. I, up till just recently, have been the JTIP program manager for the last 8 or 9 years, so I'm still in that role at this moment. And so I'm going to just give you a brief overview of JTIP. As Joanna said, we have a lot to cover, so I've just got a couple of slides with some pretty high-level requirements about JTIP, and then if you have further questions or would like to speak to one of us in depth, you'll have opportunity to get that contact information, and we'll meet with you all individually. So in a nutshell, JTIP is a benefit to companies to offset the cost of training during an initial learning or training period. Qualified companies are reimbursed a portion of those expenses associated with the training in newly created positions. Qualified companies are economic-based, and you'll find that that is the case for most of our programs. We are serving companies that are bringing in revenues from outside the state, either by exporting a product or a service that is non-retail in nature. So we work with manufacturers, some startups. There are certain requirements for early stage startups, but we will definitely talk to you and make a determination about whether or not your company's ready for JTIP. So don't let that put you off from contacting us. As well as green industry, we are able to serve some companies that are designated as green, and so that's another discussion topic. If you have any more questions about that, please call us. The way that the companies benefit from the program is either through a wage reimbursement or offsetting the cost of customized training at a higher ed institution. So I'd say 99.9% of the time, companies are qualifying and being approved for wage reimbursement. That's a reimbursement on the base wages during the training or learning period, which can last anywhere from 2 to 6 months, depending on the skill set of the job and the wages that the company is paying. That's a cash reimbursement that is realized after the jobs have been created, the training has been completed, and the company has gone through the various requirements for reporting. One thing to note about JTIP is that eligibility for JTIP opens up eligibility for the high wage job tax credit and the rural job tax credits for companies. Oh, I skipped through, sorry about that. There's a little bit of a lag here, my apologies. Oh. Hold on. It's, for some reason, it's skipping over. I need that one. Sorry about that, everyone. So the application process is pretty straightforward. First of all, we need to determine whether or not the company is eligible for JTIP. And so the person who will meet with you to do that is Patrick Gannon. He's our JTIP marketing coordinator. His contact information is up there on the screen. He will meet with you, tour your company, talk about what it is that you do, determine eligibility, and if the company is eligible, then he'll talk about what the program requirements are, help you strategize the application process so that it aligns with your hiring needs and the board's meeting schedule. And then he'll work with you to put together a proposal to bring to the board at the board meeting that you've determined is most appropriate for your hiring needs. JTIP staff administers the program within the department, and the board makes all the funding decisions. So they meet on a monthly basis. It's the second Friday of every month, generally. And the companies have the opportunity to come and present their requests, talk about what they do, and then the board makes that final decision at the board meeting. Once the project is approved, the staff continues to provide technical assistance and training for administering the program, as well as getting all your reports in and receiving that reimbursement. That was a very quick and high-level overview. I don't want to take too much time away from all the other programs, but please feel free to ask questions at the end of the webinar. And as I said, our staff is available to meet one-on-one with you to talk about your individual needs and whether or not JTIP is a good fit for your company. Thank you very much. I think we'll go on to Main Street.
Hello all, my name is Daniel Gutierrez. I'm the Director of New Mexico Main Street Program. It's good to talk with everybody and kind of advertise our program to different audiences. The New Mexico Main Street program, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, it is an asset-based community economic development program that focuses on downtown revitalization and redevelopment. We are licensed and accredited by the National Main Street Center, and we are just this past summer celebrated our 35 years of service in New Mexico and part of the economic development program. I believe we've worked in 76 communities throughout New Mexico in that 35 years. So we've been in throughout the state and many of the rural communities and larger metropolitan areas as well. Our goals for the program in terms of target, we call them our economic transformation strategies in terms of how we do the work. We focus on building local capacity for economic revitalization and redevelopment. And this is engaging local Main Street organizations, local governments, and volunteers to really drive the work, build the capacity to be able to complete projects and get economic development projects done. We also work on enhancing the entrepreneurial and creative economy because we think that's one of the biggest targets that we could do, especially in rural communities, as we try to complement, I think, the economic-based work that a lot of our other colleagues are doing in terms of especially rural communities. And the other one is creating thriving places, working on redoing the infrastructure in downtowns, creating spaces where people want to go, can congregate, and live in those spaces and people want to visit. We do this through a four-point approach, so we do focus on, this is an approach of the National Main Street Center that we use just as a guiding principles that focus on economic vitality, building diverse economic base and working with local business owners to really create that thriving economic environment for businesses to succeed. We work on design, and that's, working on the physical streetscape, the building rehabilitations to really create that sense of place that people want to be. Organizational development, working with local volunteers and leaders, developing an organization that can actually drive that economic work in downtown districts. And the final one is promotion, marketing businesses, districts, making it a destination for people to want to come and visit. We also, aside from the New Mexico Main Street programs, which we have 30 of them, that requires a full nonprofit working with the local government and the state, so a three-way partnership to really drive work in a district. We have two other programs that we administer. One's the Arts and Cultural Districts. It's kind of similar to Main Street, focusing on the 4 points in a district, but this focus is more on creative and cultural economy, where we position the arts and culture at the center of the revitalization of the community economic development efforts. We also have a Frontier Native American Communities Initiative, which is primarily, it's kind of Main Street light for smaller communities that don't have the capacity to do a full-fledged Main Street program and focus on a full district revitalization. This one, we primarily work in communities under 7,500, but focus on one economic development project over a 12 to 18 month time frame. But like the regular Main Street program, we do focus on, making positive economic impacts in the district. There is an application process for all of our programs that it really depends on where our budget's at and how many programs we can serve. I anticipate the Frontier Native American Communities Initiative, we usually do 7 to 10 projects per year, and I anticipate that application coming out probably in September or August. And if you are interested, you can connect with us and get your name on the prospective community list so that you'll get all notifications when they come out. Again, I think this is just kind of showing you a map of all the different communities that we've worked in the most recent past, and through whether it's the Main Street Arts and Cultural District, Frontier Native American Communities Project, and we did do a lot of historic theater rehabilitations as well. There's just some of our economic impact in our 30 Main Street communities over the past 7 years. So you can see we've actually done a lot of, business development, private reinvestment, building rehabilitations, and all of this kind of complements, again, the work I think that our colleagues are doing around the state. So if you have any questions or you're interested in learning more, you can go to our website. It's nmmainstreet.org, or you can look at our EDD website to get some of our contact information. But we do have the application process information about the work we've done and the communities we're working in, and you can always contact either myself, or we have 4 state staff members and 9 contractors that actually are in the field providing technical assistance, and we're all available, and you can get our contact information online. So with that, I believe we're turning it over to Juan Torres.
Thanks, Daniel.
Hey, good morning. My name is Juan Torres, and I am with the Finance Development Team. And let me just, there we go, a little bit of housekeeping. So, Finance Development, we're providing financial resource assistance to every type of business. I think this is a new one for 2020. So, regardless of retail, non-retail, we're here to help all businesses. And in terms of specifically on a business basis, financial packaging, identifying debt and equity options for capital investment, reviewing and interpreting financials, income statements, balance sheets, in-depth financial analysis and consultations concerning all aspects of businesses, and webinars and many online resources. I think that's the main takeaway for 2020 is that thanks to Joanna Nelson, we have a lot of self-service online help for those of you that want to do it yourself and kind of go on there. So one of the main pots of money, if you will, that are available is the LEDA Fund. These are grants that are available to local governments, municipalities, and counties to assist businesses that are expanding or relocating. These businesses will demonstrate a public benefit, and we will enter into agreements with security. But the good news is that the program has demonstrated its potential and its value, and we're currently at around $50 million, and I think Ryan will talk a little bit about a recent change which will make this a more consistent fund going forward. Projects in general for LEDA have to meet LEDA qualifications for qualified entities, qualified companies. There has to be a community impact and support. We target rural and underserved areas. Those projects generally should demonstrate increased wages and job creation, new capital investment, environmental sustainable incomes, and general kind of wealth creation for the region. The monies for the LEDA Fund can be used, as we say colloquially, for land, building, and infrastructure in a number of different ways. We also provide funding for public works improvements associated with expansion, those expansion needs. And that's kind of been refined in this year so that we are really looking at what those needs are for that project and how we might help leverage the infrastructure there. In addition, LEDA funds could be used as loan guarantees in a number of different structures and ways. So there's a lot of flexibility. The takeaway is there's a lot of flexibility for these funds as long as the projects are qualified entities that could demonstrate a significant public benefit. One of the more successful programs we've had over the last few years, and we really kind of come to a head, is the Funded program. It's basically a multi-agency working group so that all the agencies at the state and some agencies at the federal level come together on a every 2-month basis to review projects. These are community infrastructure type projects, and we've been very, very successful at working better and closer together between the agencies. And we're hoping to really ramp that up this year, especially with a lot of the USDA Reconnect funding that has been recently released, and we really hope that we get more community entities and companies submitting to that. You can go online at that link. It's a very long link, but when we send it out, it'll be a hot link. So you'll be able to click on there and go directly to the funded section where you can upload your projects, and you would be contacted within a certain period of time by an agency representative to follow up on your project. So this is, again, community-based infrastructure projects funded. We have a business-oriented collateral assistance program. Basically, it's a loan guarantee program that we can put up to $250,000 in a collateral shortfall for the right project, and the right project being projects in rural areas, in underserved areas, for disadvantaged businesses, women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses. We've done some very good projects. We did a Quiznos out in the Eastern Plains. We did a Firehouse Subs in Hobbs. I mentioned those because those were 2 veteran-owned businesses, and we were very glad to see those. So you'll notice again that this is not limited to economic-based companies. So we do retail. We do retail businesses in Main Street, for instance. So if you've got a little ice cream shop in a Main Street and you need a loan, then give us a call and we can figure out a way to work with a bank to make sure that collateral is available for your project. And again, the link to the collateral assistance program is there, and what you'll find is downloadable documents for the banks to enroll, and then we work with the bank in tandem with the borrower to make sure that the projects get the consideration that they're looking for. Again, I mentioned a special focus on women and veterans. Projects in industries, intelligent manufacturing, sustainable and green industries, value-added agricultural, tourism, outdoor recreation. So again, when you're looking at the things that go across all the platforms, here's a funding mechanism that you can look at for, again, shoring up a collateral shortfall. Opportunity zones are something that have developed over the last couple of years. There are 63 designated opportunity zones in New Mexico. The best way that I could say about the opportunity zones is that these are ways of funding projects in the qualified census tracts. We've got a really great website, www.nmopportunity.com is right there. Everything you need is at that website, including a list of funders across the country, different targeted areas, how to upload your projects to put it in our attention. Our role in this program is to try to connect projects in qualified census tracts with potential funders. So if you can let us know, you could upload your project, where it's at, and what it is, we'll try to help find a funder. We'll try to put you together, and that's a way that you can have these large infrastructure projects funded through this mechanism. It's a federal program. It's a tax rebate program. So again, all the resources that you would need to understand this program is on that website, but also you feel free to email myself or Joanna or Ryan Eustace for further details. We have a very exciting tool, the Business Finance Finder. So if you are the kind of person that would rather go online and do everything yourself, here's a way that you can do that. If you're looking for financing options, you go to the website, again, you click on the link, and you will put in information about the kind of finance that you're looking for, and we will try to make you with the right resource, and we'll communicate with banks and other entities to try to help match your needs with what the bank is willing to do, or what the entity, and this could be a CDF, Community Development Finance Institution, or some other entity. So this is kind of a 3 o'clock in the morning, wake up, I got my business idea, and then type in all that stuff, and we can try to help you figure out a way to finance that if you prefer to work on your own. Again, we always offer one-on-one assistance, but if this is how you like to work, then God bless you. More resources and information can be found at gonm.biz/finance, gonm.biz. And I am Juan Torres, and I thank you for your attention. Oh, and so I'm also sitting in for Edward Herrera, who is currently in Japan at the food show. I'm not sure. He reports back that everybody's temperatures are being taken on a regular basis. But anyway, so the Office of International Trade. So the Office of International Trade received a $200,000 U.S. Small Business Administration grant to help eligible small business concerns expand their markets abroad. The State Trade Expansion Program, also known as STEP, helps first-time new to export New Mexico companies, as well as currently exporting companies that are seeking to expand and build their distribution channels outside and overseas. The company must be a U.S. eligible small business concern domiciled in New Mexico or generating employment in New Mexico. Product must be at least 51% domestic U.S. contact, and additional consideration for the program is given to women-owned, veteran-owned, rural, and economically disadvantaged companies. And economically disadvantaged companies are generally recognized as so-called 8A companies. Grant funds could be used for exhibit booth space up to $7,500 per event. The reimbursement of company fees paid to the United States Department of Commerce for Gold Key Services, which is a matchmaking service designed to help companies to locate and appoint new international distributors overseas. Assistance is also provided to defray the costs of shipping. So shipping your goods to the exhibit can covered, as well as the reimbursement for foreign language interpretation as needed. In order to get the assistance, you can write Edward at the Office of International Trade, and he will send you out a packet of information and forms. Unfortunately, this is a federal program, so there are no lack of forms, but it's a doable proposition. It's a two-part. One is an application for the client, and the other one is an SBA self-certification and data collection survey form. Additionally, you'll have to complete a New Mexico Substitute W-9 form if you haven't already done that. If you have done that and it's active, then you don't need to submit a new one. The grant does not reimburse companies for airfare, meals, lodging expenses. That remains the responsibility of the applicant. Additionally, fees related to audiovisual equipment and internet hookup services, shelving, etc., are not covered. But by and large, if you're looking to expand your markets overseas, this is a significant help, again, in the language translation services, the booth services, the shipping services. It could be a very significant impact as you look for expanding. I would contact Edward Herrera at the information located, or you can go to our website, and he can send you a packet of application, or he can answer more questions. So with that, I'll turn it over to our Office of Science and Technology.
Thank you, Juan. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mariah Thelmer, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about the programs we offer at the Office of Science and Technology and who we're here to help. So the idea of the Office of Science and Technology is to help all companies in New Mexico that are in a field of either of these. And ideally, we want to help early stage startups connect their innovations to the commercial market. So whether we offer the programs or not, we have the resources to connect you to the right individuals throughout the state. So whether you're at the idea stage, the R&D, prototype, or whether you have questions about intellectual property, my office can help you kind of navigate through that. So one of the things I want to point out before I talk about our programs is the different series of fundings that are available. And so my office offers two major grants, one for the startup and early stage company, and the other for those that are early stage but closer to commercialization. However, as you can see, there's a variety of programs both at the federal level and at the state level that can help you achieve these goals. Sorry, having some technical difficulties. Joanna, can you help me?
One second, and just want to remind everybody that you can ask questions as we go, so we'll take those at the end. All right, there we go.
Thank you. So the first program I want to talk about is the SBIR matching grant. So these are grants for companies that have federal grants from one of the 11 agencies. And so these matching grants can provide between $25,000 and $100,000 of funding for any of the things listed on the screen there. So it doesn't cover anything related to research and development, but it can be used for any of your business development goals. And so the eligibility for this program is, obviously, you have to have an active Phase I or Phase II SBIR grant at the time of application. You have to be headquartered in New Mexico with 50% or more of your payroll here in the state, and most of the activities have to be conducted here. And of course, you cannot be involved in any kind of debt or lawsuit, and applicants have to agree to all our reporting and clawback requirements. So the individuals that are responsible for reviewing these grants is our Technology Research Collaborative Board, which is a board of 11 individuals from all the major universities, the laboratories, and people from the business community. So I know a lot of people have questions about how are these awards granted, what are they looking for? So these are some of the things that I think will answer some of those questions. And I won't go through them, but as Joanna said, she will email this out to you. As far as the reporting measures for the SBIR grant recipients, we request that the recipients send us milestone reports. And so this is important for us to kind of keep track of the company and hopefully, eventually get them into the pipeline of our other programs like JTIP, get them into LEDA, things like that. Maybe not immediately, but to have them, for us to keep tabs and know how we can help. So some of the things that the awardees have to disclose are things like follow-on funding. So this includes any additional grants that were received after you receive the SBIR matching grant, any kind of VC funding, if you maybe generated any new jobs, if you created a new product or have any new investment in facilities. So the next grant I'm going to talk to you about is the New Mexico Business Startup Grant. So this is a fairly new grant that we started, and this has replaced our innovation vouchers, which innovation vouchers previously used to offer $2,000 to be used at a business incubator accelerator on behalf of the company. However, we replaced this with a better grant that allows the business to directly receive the funding. And so this is up to $10,000. And so one of the things we're focusing on is helping the companies in New Mexico that have the highest potential to grow and to, I would say, go into our programs like JTIP and LEDA. So these are the most promising, and the following industry sectors are eligible for these grants. So these are aerospace, bioscience, cybersecurity, intelligent manufacturing, sustainable and green energy. And so primarily the company has to be headquartered in New Mexico and be doing business here. Of course, they have to have what we're calling high growth potential and have fewer than 50 employees. And finally, provide a letter of good standing or certificate of compliance with the Tax and Revenue Department. And so one of the things I'll mention is that we recently had a call for applications for this grant, and we will be announcing the awardees soon. However, if you are a tech company and if you think you're in biosciences, double check your NAICS code. We have a lot of companies that maybe have some application of bioscience in their company but aren't listed as that. So that's another thing that we look at in terms of being eligible. You have to, your NAICS code has to be similar to what you're listing as the industry sector. So what we're defining as high growth potential companies and what is being reviewed by the TRC board is, you know, if companies have a unique product or service, a clear and compelling business proposition, if they have a scalable product and business model, if they have a capable team or advisory board, that's also something that's very important. And you know, the possibility for exit potential or the potential to create jobs, because as you know, we are the Economic Development Department. We want to increase the job growth and wealth in the state. So with that, I will finish my my part of the presentation, and so feel free to learn more about any of our programs on the website, or feel free to email me. So with that, I will hand it off to Axie.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Yes, my name is Axie Navas, and I am the director of the new Outdoor Recreation Division, which was signed into law last April. And so what I'd like to do with these next few minutes is just give a really quick overview of what we mean as a division when we talk about the outdoor recreation economy, and then give you an idea of how the Outdoor Recreation Division is evolving into 2020 to help grow this economy to every corner of the state. So these are the numbers that you'll hear our division cite most frequently. They are from the Bureau of Economic Analysis, which is the same federal agency that comes up with our national GDP data. So we're talking about a $2.3 billion contribution to the state GDP and 33,500 jobs in total in a variety of sectors, which we'll get to in a minute. One really astonishing data point that has come from BEE that I cite often is this 11% growth in this contribution between 2012 and 2017. And so that's 11% growth in outdoor recreation economy in our state between those years, compared to 4% growth for overall state GDP. So it's definitely a powerhouse when you look at it holistically and you look at the types of jobs that the Bureau of Economic Analysis is including in these buckets. My office spends most of its time focusing on nature-based outdoor recreation. That's another question I answer a lot, is how do we define outdoor rec? And for the most part, we are focusing, again, on outdoor recreation that happens in nature-based environments, which I think many of you probably intuitively kind of understand with that qualification, but it's things like skiing, the skier at Taos Ski Valley a couple of weeks ago, snowboarding, hiking, hunting, trapping, fishing, just general nature enjoyment. So walking or being outside and observing wildlife. Birding is a huge part of this economy in New Mexico. And as I hinted at, that 33,500 jobs number encompasses a variety of professions, professional and business services, construction, manufacturing, transportation, and warehousing. But at least in New Mexico, and we see this in other states too, by far the majority of those jobs are in retail trade, accommodations, and food services, and that's about 26,000 total, all back, again, in 2017, and according to that Bureau of Economic Analysis data. This comes from a little poll that Colorado College put together in 2018, all focused on conservation in the West. And I like to look at these numbers just as evidence that a majority of people who live in this state believe that outdoor recreation can be a powerful force for our economy and that they also participate in the outdoors. And that's both that 84% number up top and then 76, so that they consider themselves an outdoor recreation enthusiast. This is a really interesting slide too. We work really closely with our federal partners. BLM obviously manages a lot of land in New Mexico, as does the U.S. Forest Service. National Park Service has a presence too. And then of course our state parks. So acreage, you'll see, is that blue, is the blue metric, and then yellow, we're measuring visitation. So I always find it really interesting that our state parks actually get just about the most visitation, right at 5 million visits a year back in 2018, but the landmass that they oversee is the smallest out of any of these like kind of main public lands agencies. So we work really closely with them because we know state parks are a hugely important way to access the outdoors. So we work closely with them with outdoor recreation planning, infrastructure planning, and I'll get into some of those documents that we're actually putting together right now in partnership, in particular with state parks, which is a division of state government within the Energy, Minerals, and Natural Resources Department. And many New Mexican communities are already investing in this economy. I'll call out a few that are cited on this page. Gallup, New Mexico, has put a lot of money into the trails around the area, and they have come up with a study that they believe that each event brings in about $45,000 to the community. Farmington has made this a priority as well. According to the municipal team, they put about $12 million into the outdoor recreation economy since 2014, and that includes big investments to their OHV trail system. We're working with BLM leadership right now actually to get that opened up to the public, make it a little bit more accessible, get a map in place so people can actually get out there and enjoy all of the trails around that area. And then Farmington has also put a lot of money into a new public beach that's right in town and has been hugely popular both with visitors to the Farmington area and then with residents. So really the top line overview is that when we're talking about the outdoor recreation economy, there's a couple kind of key components. There's the quality of life aspect in terms of we have a number of businesses and individuals who come to us and say that they're deciding where they want to live based on the access they have to the outdoors. That's kind of where that state park stat comes in. I believe it's about 75% of New Mexicans live within 40 miles of a state park. And so increasing that access, making sure the state parks are well funded and accessible with smart wayfinding signage, things like that, it's a really key part of the decision-making process for many New Mexicans, and then also out-of-state folks who are maybe looking to move here to have that access. That access is a key selling point. Creating and retaining jobs, and then simply the business and economy side of things. We're working closely with companies that are considered directly within the outdoor recreation economy. So bike mechanics and outfitters and guides. I'll get to this in a minute and how we're working directly with them, but our goal is to help these companies grow in New Mexico. But part of it too is telling the New Mexico story to other companies that aren't within the outdoor recreation sector necessarily, but that are deciding where they want to potentially relocate or expand, in part because of the access to the outdoors, because it has a certain promise of quality of life and community and well-being for their employees. I'll talk about the Outdoor Recreation Division specifically really quickly, and then one note on all that data. I have a link where all those sources are cited. I'm happy to share that. It's not in this presentation, but we can share that around. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. This is all part of a report we partnered on with the Headquartered economics firm, which is a well-known outdoor recreation-focused economics firm based in Montana, and this is kind of a sliver of what we came up with. But so the Outdoor Recreation Division as a whole, as I said, it's a brand new division signed into law in April 2019, and obviously housed within the Economic Development Department. Right now the team is basically me. I lead the division. We're hiring a program coordinator, and if anyone has questions about that or knows of someone who might be a good fit, please feel free to reach out. And then I also have a 15-person advisory board made up of people from other state agencies and nonprofits and the private sector, and they are hugely critical when it comes to growing the programs that we're focusing on now. And in short, our mission dovetails with the broader mission of the department to grow the outdoor economy in every corner of the state, bringing jobs, wellness, and prosperity to all New Mexicans. We are within the Economic Development Department, and so many of our tools fall within the tools that people have already articulated. Juan articulated LEDA, and Sarah articulated JTIP, Fund It, Main Street, TAP. We serve in many ways as the connective tissue between our outdoor recreation companies and all of these great professionals here in economic development. And so if you have a company that qualifies for one of the programs you've heard about, you have the staff here to answer those questions. I'm also happy to answer those questions and make sure you're funneled to the right people and programs. That's happened a couple times already. We're working with this man here. This is Errol Bade, who owns Jack's Plastic Welding in Aztec. Really amazing outdoor recreation company in a rural part of our state. Errol and Jack's basically oversee and own the whitewater business in the Rocky Mountain West. So if you've been on a river trip in the past decade or so, you've probably been on one of Errol's rafts. He also builds rafts for re-entry vehicles or re-entry spacecraft built by NASA. So they're doing amazing work within the outdoor recreation economy in New Mexico. We are focusing on local entrepreneurial talent. The Outdoor Recreation Division late last year, awarded the first outdoor recreation business incubator grants. Those went to San Juan College and Creative Startups, and they're rolling out incubators throughout the state as we speak. We actually have a press release about to go out saying what those first dates will be. So I'd encourage everyone to look for that. And if you know of people who are trying to start an outdoor rec business or continue to grow theirs and could use some mentorship or networking, these events, like I said, that will be happening across the state will be hopefully helpful resources. And then stay tuned for more details on a pitch fest that we're organizing. It will be focused on early stage companies and hopefully have some seed money tied to it. And it will be held at the 2020 Outdoor Economics Conference, which will be October 1st and 2nd in Farmington. I'll have more details about that. There are more details about the conference itself on our website. And I would say just save the date, October 1st and 2nd. This Pitch Fest will be an important part of it, and just bringing together the local business community will be a key part of that event. I mentioned ways that we're working with that local New Mexico outdoor rec business community. We're developing the state's first trade alliance for these companies. So if you own one of these companies or know of someone who does, again, please reach out to me and I can give more details on what that group's going to look like. But we're starting to build the bones of that 501c6 to have that finalized probably by middle of this year or the fall, have a big announcement at the 2020 Outdoor Economics Conference. We are also putting together the parameters of a grant program. It's called the Special Projects and Infrastructure Fund, and we will have funding for that starting in July of this year, and we will also have a fully detailed explanation of what that program is intended to do and who qualifies within the next couple of months. But really the goal of that is to award grants to projects that are increasing and enhancing outdoor recreation access in their communities. So that will be really exciting. It's modeled off a similar program that Utah has that maybe some of you are familiar with, and it's intended to put money towards trail building and river access and public shooting ranges, the whole gamut of nature-based outdoor recreation. And so the bottom line is, if you own a New Mexico outdoor recreation business or you want to start one, you're looking to expand, please reach out. And I'm here to help you however I can, either, again, acting as a connective tissue to the tools within the Economic Development Department. Maybe there are tools within the Outdoor Recreation Division specifically that will help you. And we can always brainstorm. The goal is, if there is recreation in the title of the project or the business that you're thinking of, it is my job to help you. And so keep me posted. Promotion of the outdoor rec economy is a big part of what we do too. So we work most closely with the folks at New Mexico Tourism Department and then again the State Parks Division, which I mentioned already, on 2 big planning documents that are going to be coming out later this year. The first one within tourism is called the Destination Development Roadmap. It encompasses more than outdoor rec, but outdoor rec is an important part of it. And so I've been spearheading that side of things with the tourism department. And then we're also working on a really important planning document called the Statewide Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan, the SCORP. Many of you maybe have heard of it, but it's an important roadmap when it comes to unlocking federal funding, the Land and Water Conservation Fund in particular. That is a 5-year plan. The next 5-year plan will be coming out in early 2021. So the bottom line is we're in the midst of that planning right now, and I'll be communicating that with communities kind of across the state to let them know of the importance of that. And it's basically it's both a guideline, a planning document, and then a like aspirational outdoor rec blueprint for the next 5 years. We have a marketing budget. It is not huge. It's more of a guerrilla marketing budget, but if you're planning any events that are outdoor rec focused, please reach out to me. We will have some funds to potentially support such events starting again in July 2020. We really believe that's an important way to raise the visibility of New Mexico's outdoor recreation economy throughout the country. Conservation, that's the bedrock of what we do. Healthy lands and waters are really the infrastructure upon which this outdoor economy is built. It'll be a key part of that special projects and infrastructure grant that I mentioned, a key component of the parameters. And then we're working on a funding toolkit to bring together federal and state funding resources if you're working on conservation projects in particular. Big one is that Land and Water Conservation Fund. EPA has a really great program. USDA has a number of programs. So we're working with some of our federal partners to bring that together into a little bit more accessible of a resource. And then we have some prominent conservationists on our board. So if you're looking for connections, especially to some of the federal land management agencies in the state, either for permitting questions or policy ideas, I'm happy to help with that too. And then finally, education, promoting the values of stewardship is a key part of what we're focusing on. The most maybe marquee program within this umbrella is the Outdoor Equity Fund, which we will be administering starting middle of this year. The first will open up this fund to applicants within the next 3 weeks. So I will also have some dates about a few basically like mini summits that we're doing to educate people on how to apply, and then I'll also share the link and some information on how to apply again in the next 3 weeks or so. So we're really excited about that. It's a super unique program, first of its kind in the country. It is all about funding programs to get kids outside and to have transformational outdoor experiences. And then finally, feel free to contact me. This is my cell phone, and my email address is not super easy to read, but full name, alexandra.navas@state.nm.us. You can find all that information on the website, nmoutside.com. And then again, please save the date if you're interested about the outdoor rec economy. I would definitely encourage you to come to that conference we're co-hosting October 1st and 2nd of this year in Farmington. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Axie. I think Peter Mitchell is up next with regional reps for the department.
Morning, everyone. I guess I'm going the wrong direction here.
Second.
Sorry about that.
There we go.
So this is Peter Mitchell of the Economic Development Department, and you've been hearing from a lot of my very smart colleagues of the various programs we have in our department. And I'm part of a team that similar to what Axie just mentioned, we connect you to the appropriate programs. We work with, in these various regions, there are 6 of us around the state, and our job is to address myriad issues around economic development, from Main Street issues, science and technology, community development, financing, and our job is to bring you together with the appropriate folks in our department and the appropriate people in your regions, business leaders, governmental leaders, tribal leaders, educational leaders, to move your projects forward in the community development arena. We focus a lot on job retention and expansion, but again, that retention and expansion is in a whole array of different types of industries, so we want to connect you to the appropriate people. So you've heard a lot about our programs, but we're the folks that are in your regions. All the people you see here are in their regions, so they're able to reach out and come to your community. And if we need to bring the appropriate people from the respective divisions in the state to address issues and projects in your region, we can do that too. So I'll be real short because I know that you've heard a lot today, and I'm sure you have a lot of very interesting and detailed questions that we can address in the time we have remaining after we have our star economist, Ryan Eustace, detail what we've done in the legislature.
If I may just add one comment before we move on, this is Sarah, just to point out that our Region 1 position has been vacant, and we are very close to announcing that position has been filled, and we'll be introducing that new regional rep to the region and our colleagues, hopefully in the coming couple of weeks. So that's, yeah, stay tuned for that.
All right. Thanks, Peter. And now this is our final presenter, and here we have Ryan Eustace.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining. My name is Ryan Eustace. I'm one of the economists in the Economic Development Department. We recently brought on a second economist to our department who is greatly helpful and beneficial to a lot of what is going on currently, and then a lot of what our office is looking to do long-term, in particular around county reports and county data that could help look at what is currently going on and sort of the trend analysis to what we anticipate is going to happen going forward. So I don't want to spend too much time on the bills that are on the screen, just because of the fact that not all of them have been signed. The only one that has been signed into law right there is the second one on the list, House Bill 30. And the other ones, I'm going to take a real 30,000-foot view approach to it and really highlight kind of the key aspects of the bill, and hopefully do a webinar at a later date so we can actually do a deep dive, in particular into the Senate Bill 118, which is the Local Economic Development Support Fund, and then a previous bill, House Bill 6, which was passed the last legislative session, which focuses in particular on distribution-based sourcing. So those will come down the road. The first bill, which was passed but has not signed yet, is Senate Bill 136, which essentially increases the percentage cap on New Mexico private equity and business investments from the Severance Tax Permanent Fund, and it changes the rate and increases it from 9% to 11%. House Bill 30, which has been signed, is essentially takes veterans who have been honorably discharged or within 3 years of the separation from the military. Their spouses and their dependents will have expedited licenses, certificates, and waived fees for almost 40 occupations statewide. Senate Bill 118, which focuses primarily on LEDA. Again, this is a 30,000-foot view. We will do a deeper dive at a later date. It basically allows 3 LEDA projects to occur. Your first one is your traditional LEDA project, which you have heard greatly about and have, I'm sure, done many in your communities. The second LEDA project that is now allowable is a retail project for communities with less than 15,000 in population. But this does have a caveat that the Economic Development Department must determine that the project does not compete with existing retail businesses in the area. The third one, which is something we've been pushing for a while and finally got done, has been the rural site infrastructure to create shovel-ready locations in the area. House Bill 50 focuses on the amendments to the IRB Act and the County IRB Act. And basically, it requires electric transmission line projects that the state would receive 5% in lieu of tax payments for counties, municipalities, and other local entities, but would require school districts receive the same amount or a greater amount of annual in lieu tax payments. House Bill 118 enacts a new section of the Business Corporation Act, which allows for-profit businesses or professional corporations to elect to be designated as a benefit corporation, which basically that means they are required to consider the public good in making business decisions. House Bill 326, which was a tax cleanup bill, really the only part of that bill that we focused on was the investment tax credit, and it extended the credit, which was going to sunset July 1 of 2020 to July 1 of 2030, and it changed a few of the qualifiers in there to the cost of equipment from $500,000 to $750,000 up to $30 million, and then after $30 million, it goes to $1 million in qualified investment in equipment for one job. House Bill 158, which is probably the most awesome bill that's ever been passed, basically transfers the angel investment tax credit from the Economic Development Department and puts that responsibility with the Taxation and Revenue Department. There were concerns internally. Those are the businesses like Mariah that are focused on the science and tech, the manufacturing that we still want to track. So in that bill, it does allow us to receive the data as well, so we can do follow-on discussions and connect all appropriate businesses to all the funding sources that our department oversees. And then finally, House Bill 2, which is the general appropriations, or essentially the budget. Again, this bill has not been signed, but a real high-level overview is it brings our LEDA balance up to $50 million, and then puts our JTIP balance for spending in FY21 at about $9 million. So again, I spoke about a future webinar that we would like to do, and we would go into deeper detail on these bills and any other specific bills that may be related to the areas that you guys are interested in. And then for sure, House Bill 6, which was passed last year, which focuses on destination-based sourcing. So with that, I will turn it over.
Great, thanks. All right, now I think that we are going to open it up for questions. And I think everybody that signed on, you registered, so you had a chance to answer the question, what do you hope to learn from this webinar? So we also got some really good questions. Feel free to type the questions into the right-hand box. This is your shot, your opportunity. The experts are here. And let's see, and I do want to highlight, we always get some questions about how do you access this presentation. We will be sending out the presentation in a PDF format, so you'll have everyone's contact information. I think that's all listed. And then you will be able to watch the live recording. I know you're going to want to watch this over and over again. So we'll send that out, and you'll have a link to our YouTube. So I'll be reading the questions to the team. And feel free, team, to answer if it's applicable to you. We had a question from Sue about what is the size of the startup grant. Is that you or
Yes,
Mariah?
so it starts at $10,000. However, the PRC board has the ability to award more or less based on like our discussions, but it is $10,000 per company.
Okay, great. We had a question from Owen, and I think this is targeted to Main Street, and that is in regard to Frontier and Native American Communities Initiative. Can you give some examples of what this did in communities?
So primarily, if we select a project in community, the idea is to build capacity on the local level to start off just engaging in some projects. We've done projects. I think Carrizozo was probably one that expanded the most, I would say. It started off with doing a revitalization plan for their downtown district. It turned into us working with them to get a historic district designation for the community. We did facade squad where I think we got some grant money to do 3 or 4 buildings, improve the facades in that area. We did a metropolitan redevelopment area designation and a plan. And then we also did some streetscape improvements, I think, in conjunction with DOT. So there's a lot of different ways that we can help. It's just really building some capacity, and it kind of grows from there. We've done a lot of entrepreneurial support for small businesses. We've done creative placemaking projects where we've done just real quick, projects where it's just trying to activate a space. So it's really just building that momentum and that capacity on a local level to want to engage in economic development projects. But feel free to call me. My information is available on the website if you're interested in, just learning more about the program and what we could potentially do in individual communities.
Thanks, Daniel. We had a comment from Webb Johnson, who is saying that she's going to, or they're going to be he will be talking about the STEP grant tomorrow at the New Mexico Trade Alliance event, and I know that's in Albuquerque. It's in the morning, so if you have any questions, if that sounds interesting, reach out to us and we'll get you the info on that. But I think SBA representatives will be there, representatives from the Import-Export Bank. So if you have questions about importing, exporting internationally, that is a great opportunity. So thanks for bringing that up, Webb. We also got a question from Mike, who is talking about, or asking about, are there special preferences through the LEDA program for opportunity zones?
Yes, Mike, I think it sounds like we've set this up, but we didn't. So, yes, there's an additional consideration. So to encourage development in opportunity zones, the department is offering an additional $1 million in LEDA funding for those projects located in opportunity zones that meet specific criteria. Project must be in one of the 9 key industry sectors outlined by the governor. That's aerospace, biosciences, cybersecurity, film and television, global trade, intelligent manufacturing, outdoor recreation, sustainable and green energy, and sustainable value-added agriculture. The investment must create a minimum of $2.5 million in annual payroll, with average annual salaries greater than 2% above the county average as defined by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. If located in Santa Fe, Albuquerque, or Rio Rancho, the investment must create a minimum of $3.5 million in annual payroll and, again, have an average annual salary greater than 2% of the county average as defined by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The project must also commit to a 10-year agreement and must have a capital investment of at least $10 million. If located in Santa Fe, Albuquerque, or Rio Rancho, that number is $15 million. And the project must be an expansion or an out-of-state relocation. So some of the criteria exist, but basically it defines the parameters of investments more specifically, as well as the general wealth creation. So that's an additional $1 million of LEDA consideration for projects located in opportunity zones.
Great, thank you, Juan. And I want to add too that Juan mentioned the website nmopportunity.com, and you can actually go on that website and see additional incentives that are available from other state agencies as well as federal agencies. There's a link to the Opportunity Zone Council at the federal level, and they have compiled something like 54 pages of different incentives that are available for projects in an opportunity zone.
And I'd like to add that I see Tricia Corbis from the Economic Development Administration's on, as well as Terry McDermott from USDA. Both those agencies will offer additional consideration for their funding opportunities that are located in opportunity zones. So do go through nmopportunity.com and check all those out. While I'm talking, I looked at some of the questions that were put in ahead of time, and they seem to be, a bunch of them were focused on funding opportunities. So I take this moment to identify that there are a number of funding opportunities available right now that, I'm encouraging you to consider. If you're in the northern New Mexico region, Sandoval, Santa Fe, Rio Arriba, Mora counties, the Regional Development Corporation has their Technology and Manufacturing Fund open right now for consideration, and that's encouraging technology and manufacturing companies to request a assistance of up to $20,000. So that program is currently available, open until March 13th. If you are in those regions, again, that's Sandoval, Santa Fe County, Los Alamos County, San Miguel, Mora, Rio Arriba, or Taos, and you are a technology or manufacturing company, then you might want to go to the RDC website and take a look at that program. Additionally, the USDA Reconnect program is currently available for broadband expansions. There are tens of millions of dollars available, and so far only Inamar Plateau in New Mexico has been the one that has applied, in the Eastern Plains. So broadband projects, extending existing projects as well as new projects can apply for those funds. March 16th is the deadline. There's a webinar. Go to the USDA Reconnect Loan and Grant Program website to find out about that. In addition, the USDA has community facilities, technical assistance, and training grants. So state agencies as well as communities and private entities can apply for up to $150,000 from USDA to set up technical assistance programs. So that is currently open and available. And again, if you go to Communities, Facilities, Technical Assistance and Training Program, you can take a look at the criteria for that. I mentioned the Economic Development Administration. They have two programs open right now for 2020. The Build to Scale program, formerly known as the Regional Innovation Strategy Program, has $35 million available. The program's open until March 24th for submissions. So, anybody that wants to make some sort of an application for that, feel free to go to their website or contact us if you want. And there's supporting entrepreneurship, acceleration of company growth, and increased access to risk capital across regional economies for that $35 million grant program. Additionally, the 2020 Public Works and Economic Adjustment Assistance Program is open and available right now. There's no closing deadline. It's open on a rolling red line, but that would be Public Works, Economic Adjustment Assistance, and other assistance for distressed communities in regional and comprehensive resources. So again, those are out there. They're open right now. Tens of millions of dollars in federal funds, and based on a lot of the infrastructure changes that we're making here, some of the funds, if you're looking for matching funds for some of these federal funds, potentially we can look at that as long as there's job creation and expansion. So just wanted to put that out there.
Great, thanks. A lot of money out there, so contact us. And that's the interesting thing, is that each one of the department representatives are able to talk to these resources, connect you to the right folks, and get you more information. So we did get a comment from Deborah Burns, and she mentioned that she's speaking at the CE Lab tomorrow morning in Albuquerque to provide information for businesses about opportunity zones, and that's tomorrow at 10, and you can reach her at 505-246-6902, and she's the manager of Invest US Opportunity Fund for smaller cities and communities. So thanks for sharing that, Deborah. And Juan hit on a lot of questions. I think there was one that had been typed in. I'll throw this to Peter if you want to take this one. We did get some questions about basic, how do I start my business? Where do I go? Could you talk about how they can connect with the reps? And
Sure. I mean, I think the first step is to sit down with your local SBDC representative, and they can guide you towards licensing requirements and start you with a business plan. And then as it gets more developed, we can certainly sit down, my colleagues or I can sit down with the business owner and see what other resources we can bring to bear depending on what kind of business it is. So you can contact us at our department anytime, and I will certainly connect you with the appropriate local governmental officials, finance people, whomever is appropriate to get you started.
All right, great. Okay, any follow-ups from the team?
Just a final point on, I wrote this down, I forgot to mention it. For anybody that has or is looking to access the EB-5 Foreign Investor Program, there's been some significant changes this year to that program. And very quickly, targeted employment areas are no longer designated by the state. So that's a very big change. Formerly, targeted employment areas were designated by the state. That's no longer the case. It's done through Customs and Immigration, and the investing dollar amounts have been increased significantly. So if you'd like some more details on any of that, I'm happy to follow up if you want to contact me. And then the only other thing was Mariah mentioned the cybersecurity stuff, and one of the things that we're trying to make sure that especially companies that are doing business with the labs and the federal government are aware of the NIST SP 800 changes and the 853 and the 800-171 changes to cybersecurity requirements. Again, that means that if you're doing business with the labs and the federal government, you have to demonstrate a certain level of cybersecurity awareness as well as certification. And Mariah is working to try to make sure that to connect companies that are looking to access that with the right entity. So contact Office of Science and Technology to find out more about getting NIST SP 800 certified for government contracting.
Great, thanks, Juan. To follow up, let's see if we can get the slide to advance. We did want to share some upcoming events. Fund It was mentioned. The upcoming meeting is going to be in April, so that's an opportunity if you have public projects that are going to benefit the economy, strengthen the economy, you can get in front of the funders that make that decision and help collaborate and find funding sources. So the cutoff for applications is April 16th. The next webinar that we're going to do in the series will be the last Thursday of March. I didn't put the date on there, but NMFA, New Mexico Finance Authority, is unrolling some new, really exciting finance programs, and they will be updating everyone on those, how they work, how to get a hold of them. So that'll be a really good chance to learn about a new tool. You can register on the link we'll send out. We're in the process of doing an Opportunity Zone Marketplace/Forum, and we're working with SBA and the SBDC. That event will be coming up in May. Stay tuned. The best way to stay in touch with our department is to sign up for our newsletter, or our email list, I should say, and then you can go directly if you want information just on Opportunity Zone information in the state. You can go to our website, nmopportunity.com, and sign up on that email list. Main Street Now conference that is coming up in May in Dallas, as well as New Mexico Main Street Boot Camp for new directors. That is coming up. Let's see what date that is, in June. And then want to remind people that we are always enrolling lenders and projects into the Collateral Assistance Program. This is that program that Juan mentioned that is a fantastic way to help support and add extra collateral to business projects that are trying to get commercial loans. We want to help see more deals get done. Our upcoming Business Finance Fair will be coming up. That'll probably be at the end of the summer. And want to throw that out there that the Economic Development Basic course will be in July in Silver City. Dates, I don't think, have been announced, but this is a great week-long event that you can network with other folks that are involved with community and economic development and learn the basics of economic development. So we're always supportive of that event. So that sums it up. We hope that you found this valuable and hope that you found some good resources and tools. I think the main takeaway is that there are a lot of folks here on this team that want to help. Reach out to us. We play connector really well. We will connect you to the right resources and get you the help that you need. So please reach out to us. Let us know how we can help. And we hope that you tune in to the next webinar. So thanks so much. Thanks to everybody that presented.
Thanks.